Hello, dear teacher. Thanks for accepting to be interviewed. The current interview is about the space exploration, advantage and disadvantage. It will be not take more than 5 to 10 minutes. Can we start?
Yes.
Shall governments prioritize spending on the exploration of space? Why?
Okay, that's a good question. If government should prioritize and invest in exploration up to the space, I do believe the answer could be yes in one way. So the backup of my answer would be because it is very important to know our origins, so we can try to find out answers up to the universe to get a clear knowledge of what we are and how we can improve our way of living.
Exploration is a space an important frontier for human explorations inspirations.
I mean, sure enough, it's very important for inspire a new way of living, um, and of course, that's the exploration. Um, Thinking about the questions, there will be always a double face of the coin, but sticking to the point that it can help to inspire new technology, which they can be helpful to let leave us in a better condition, and probably even new discoveries about the medicine and how we can cure our illness in a more effective way.
Does space exploration benefit science, humans' understanding?
Yes, I was actually mentioning in the previous questions that, yeah, I mean, try to find an answer to solve problems in Earth, in the space. It can be a helpful tool, and it can help us, sure enough. And we have plenty of examples of how scientists discover new method with which they can solve and figure it out how can solve problems in Earth, and so, as I said before, in the medicine structure.
Should the space exploration be publicly funded?
Okay, about the public funding, that's a big step ahead, because if we see in one side multinational corporations who are private investors in this new field, and we can say that the money they invest are pretty little. On the other side, they are pushing the public population to pay taxes and invest it to the space exploration. In this way, I can think it can be pretty a common sense for the multinationals to push those people and let them pay taxes, but because the public population won't get the results very quickly, they don't. I can say at some point, the majority of the people won't get a full understanding of what means spending lots of years in space research, and that's why it's benefit in a long term. So, yeah.
Does the human race need to be able to move to another planet?
Thinking about the overpopulated city we are currently seeing nowadays, and the overpolluted city we are living in, and how in the last few decades the earth start to change with natural disaster all over the place, and with our consumption of um, oils, petrol, and so the pollution. Probably there will be a time when we have to move over and leave the planet to me looking for a better way of survival. So we should be able to live in a different planet. Yeah.
Are missions to Mars important for funding?
As I said before, it is very linked to the questions that I had previously been asked from the journalist, and sure enough, are very important because we are trying to colonize another planet in order to um, keep our society, and so to keep humanity alive are very important, and so we can still find new discoveries which are very useful for us to keep the humanity alive, I would say.
Should people be flown to space instead of robots?
There are many examples of how humans are much better in collecting data and processing it rather than robots. In, in this way, there is a big debate about if humans should fly instead of robots. I would say no, just for the reason because um, human being on space, up to the space, it can face lots of dangers, while the robots is a machine, and I mean it can be easily replaced. Plus, the robots are very cheaper than ever right now. So I can get the full picture where the robot can replace a human being working up to the moon pretty fast and selecting the kind of rocks it needs, but it may take more time, but I think robots should keep flying up to the space instead of human.
Is sending humans to space good for international relations?
Yeah, sure, it's good for national, international relationships. As we see a case with the famous Apollo from USA and the Russian satellites up to the orbit, where the famous act was named the space handshake, something like that, and so where after that those two countries, those two nations had been closed and closer in relationships. So I can think it can help building stronger and stronger relationships between countries.
Should opponents of space exploration still be required to contribute?
Yeah, basically, as I said before, um, ask the population or somebody who don't really want to spend taxes or pay taxes to fund this space exploration. We should as a society and the government first give perspective of how we can use uh, f- those new data, those new findings, and in order for them to get a full understanding of what how is important the space exploration and what is up there. So I think we can't government can't force people um, to pay for and invest their money for those exploration. But in the other side, I think they should promote and improve um, way how people can get a full knowledge of what is up there, and being conscious, they will accept it. Sure enough, seeing the many benefits they will receive in a long term, as I said before.
Tell some of the disadvantage you perceive from the space exploration.
So there are many advantages, as we said, all through this interview, but the disadvantages are even more at some point. It depends of the point of view. So some of the disadvantages is the people who claim and are against the space exploration, and I mean not the exploration, but the amount of money waste on and spent in space exploration, because what they claim is that they could use those money to solve the problem we have currently in our planet. So uh, that's a very good point. The other point I would like to mention is that it can space exploration. Yes, it can strengthen the relationships between countries. But if we picture men coming up to the moon and putting a flag on it, it can actually raise some nationalism emotions and feeling, where a nation is superior to another one. So that's another disadvantages. Um, Still can lead to a space war, because satellites from all over the countries flew all around the orbit, and they may got crushed between each other and make one nation more angry than another. That can be another disadvantage. Mostly the much amount of money our government spend on that. And the last one that I mentioned before, people who are very disappointed by the forcing tax they have to pay for something that they don't really see any benefit in a term. And I think that's it. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.